So the season is over, and the time we have been waiting for is finally here. It is NFL playoffs, live and bright in the new year 2026. And I think the playoffs this year are going to be outstanding. So let's get into the yapping and go for the predictions. So let's start off in the AFC. And the first matchup we'll be taking a look at is the number 4 Steelers taking on the number 5 Texans. Steelers led by Perk Rogers, the one and only, 3,000 yards on the year, about 3,300 if you want to be technical, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a 44.1 QBR. And the backfield in the Steelers land is Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. Warren had 958 yards, 6 touchdowns. I mean, if you watched the game last night, when they played the Ravens, he was running like a fucking beast of a man. So I'm excited to see him get some playoff snaps. And Kenneth Gainwell has 1,000 yards all-purpose this year. So he really just came over from the Eagles, I believe. Might be tripping. I might be late a couple years, but he's on a fucking beast of a run. Rodgers loves to throw to him. And then they got DK Metcalf, who should be returning after sideswiping a Lions fan, for 850 yards, 6 touchdowns on 59 receptions. That Steelers team, a lot of people think they shouldn't even be in the playoffs. They're taking on the Texans with CJ Stroud. He had 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 62.4 QBR. They're led by Woody Marks. I thought Nick Chubb was going to lead the field, but rest in peace, Chubbster. We still love you over here. 700 yards for Marks, 2 touchdowns, about 3.5 yards per carry. Nothing too crazy there. And then I got Nico Collins. It's crazy this offense still made it this far without Tank Dell on the injury from last year. But 1,000 yards for Collins, 6 touchdowns and 71 receptions. Call me crazy, but the Texans remind me of the Super Bowl winning teams that were the Giants. You can call me crazy, but the defense is elite. It reminds me of just all those games that the Giants won in literally the last 2 minutes just because that defense was elite. But they're second in points per game allowed and third in takeaways. I don't really see any place where the Steelers really could make some damage here, as the Steelers' defense has looked better last week, other than Jalen Ramsey, as those blown coverages literally almost cost them the season. But they're 6th in sacks. I mean, that's what happens when you have TJ Watt on that line. The exciting whites, I believe it's Highsmith. I might be wrong, showing my lack of ball knowledge right there. But give me the Texans in this one. The Steelers' pass coverage is just bottom of the league still, and you saw it last night. They almost lost that whole season for them against the Ravens. So I'm going to take the Texans in this one. I like Stroud and that defense to carry them through. Then we have the Jags and the Bills. I think this is one of the more exciting matchups of the playoff weekend, the wildcard weekend. Is Trevor Lawrence, 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns for 5th in the league, 12 interceptions, 58.3 QBR. He's finally living up to that first-round pick. And he's finally looking like a really good quarterback. So I do have some confidence in the Jags. ETN, 1,100 yards on the ground, 7 touchdowns, 4.3 yards per carry. And the receiving room has gotten better since they've picking up Jacoby Myers. He's been nice. But Parker Washington's 847 yards, 5 touchdowns on 58 receptions. That's who's leading the Jags room. But Jags early in the season, and I think it's still what they are now after beating the Chiefs. We saw how good that defense was, and I still think that defense is amazing. They have the first rushing defense in the NFL and are second in takeaways. They've always been able to get to the ball, create a turnover, get the ball back in Lawrence's hands. And they'll be taking on the 6th-seeded Bills this year with Josh Allen, 3,600 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a 64.7 QBR. Led out the backfield by James Cook, the leading rusher in the NFL this year. He earned every dime of that holdout with 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry. And Cookie Boy Khalil Shakir, it might be Keon Coleman. I just can't let you play when you like Cookie. Fucking Cam Newton. Shakir had 719 yards, 4 touchdowns on 72 receptions. And the Bills' defense is what I'm worried about. They lost. They confirmed to shut down Ed Oliver during Christmas, so he will not be back for the playoff run. They have a great passing defense. It's first in the league with passing yards, which is crazy to me. Because I guess they're playing zone 6. They're always dropping back because they do not create any pressure on the quarterback. They're 20th in sacks, but the defense somehow finds a way to keep them in games. And honestly, if Josh Allen is on the field with the ball in his hands, with the last drive to win the game, I believe that's how the Bills are going to win this. It's a tough pick. The Jags have had an amazing season. I don't want to undersell them, but I feel like if the Bills don't win here, McDermott's done. They might fire him. So I think this is a win, a must-win for the Bills. And I just can't see them. I like the Jags, but it doesn't feel like they have that Blake Bortles run. That was the last time I could think of like a really good, weird Jags team. But give me the Bills. And then the last matchup in the AFC, we have the number 2 seeded Patriots taking on the number 7 Chargers. The Pats, led by Drake May, 4,394 yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and 77.2 QBR. Good for first in the league. And on the backfield, it's Trevion Henderson with 911 yards, 9 touchdowns on 180 carries, and they're led by Diggs, pending the lawsuit, with 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns on 85 receptions. This offense is scary elite this year for the Patriots. Drake May has taken so many big strides. I mean, you can attribute a lot of it to Vrabel. I don't know why the Titans let him walk. That was a shame. But the Pats are the most put together team in the AFC, in my opinion, and that is unfortunate. The defense is upper end of the league and have come alive even further into the end of the season. The only step back really for this Pats team was against the Bills in Week 15, where they had that game won in the first half, but collapsed. And I believe if Vrabel can, which I truly personally believe, if Vrabel can make these boys ready for some playoff football, I think the Pats are going to be a hard team to stop. And in their way will be the Chargers, led by Justin Herbert, 3,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a 60.8 QBR. And hopefully Amarian Hampton is healthy, as he has 545 yards on 4 touchdowns on only 9 games played. I mean, that's kind of crazy. He's a crazy, crazy talent. It's crazy how he fell that far to them. Vidal is buns, so they got to hope Amarian Hampton is back. And the receiving core is kind of a committee. In the beginning, we thought it was Quentin Johnson. Then Ladd McConkey showed up, and they re-signed Keenan Allen for one more try. So the wide receiver room, he has options to throw to. The whole problem with the Chargers is that O-line is battered up, atrocious. It's going to be tough to defend against the pass rush of the Patriots. And the Chargers have a defense that basically just keep them in games, if that makes sense. They're 5th in passing and 8th in rushing. And I feel like the Chargers can only play good defense when the offense is keeping them alive or above ahead in the game. So me personally here, I will have to take the Patriots. And then heading over to the NFC, we have the Panthers taking on the Rams. This is a rematch of a couple weeks ago. Bryce Young, 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, led by Rico Dowdle. Crazy comeback for the man. Congrats to him. 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns on 236 carries. And at the receiving end, it's Tatoria McMillan with 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns on 70 receptions, not 20. The fuck you talking about? Panthers walked ass backwards into the playoffs, and I think that's how they're going to leave it. The one thing the defense does do, which is crazy, they're 10th in turnovers this year. I feel like they always get a random turnover. They'll get a pick. They'll get a hard hit, maybe something on a special teams. Panthers kind of have a little devil magic in them this year, but I don't think this team is much, as they're taking on the number 5 Rams, led by Matthew Stafford, 4,700 yards, good for first in the league, 46 touchdowns, good for first in the league, 8 interceptions, and is 4th in QBR with 71. They have Kyron Williams at the backyard, I guess it's the backyard, with 1,200 yards for 6th in the league, 10 touchdowns. And they also have my boy Blake Corum with 746 yards, 6 touchdowns. Shout out to him for fantasy. And they're led by Puka Nacua, 1,715 yards, good for second, 10 touchdowns and 129 receptions. The Rams' defense is good for what it is. They generate good pressure and they create turnovers, 7th in sacks, 5th in turnovers created. The Rams never really play catch-up throughout the season. The only times they've lost was when they were playing catch-up, and one of their ways they lost was to the Panthers. That game, they were down at the end of the first by 14, could never keep it up. But the defense did keep them in that game. So if the Rams get out to an early lead, if they're up 14-0, let's say this score flips from their loss to the Panthers, I don't think the Panthers can catch up in time. I believe the Rams are good at playing prevent defense, even though people hate that term. And I like the Rams to beat the Panthers. And our final NFC wildcard matchup takes us to the number 2 Bears taking on the number 7 Packers. This is going to be a banger, I hope. Caleb Williams, 3,942 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks, 58.3 QBR. DeAndre Swift, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. Kyle Monangai, I prefer him mostly, 783 yards, 5 touchdowns. They have a nice dual-threat backfield, and it's hard to tackle a man built like Monangai. And they're led out by Colston Loveland with 713 yards, 58 catches, 6 touchdowns. It's more of a committee with DJ Moore, Romo Dunze, and Luther Burden both having around 600 yards each, 650 give or take. The Bears are another team with a shitty defense that somehow gets it done, that being through the craziest turnovers you've ever witnessed. Think back to the Jaden Daniels game where Washington just fumbled it on the snap and the Bears ended up winning that game. They lead the league in takeaways, and it's a huge reason that they still are able to come back and win these close games. It's because the defense somehow is able to flip the field on a dime. And they'll be taking on the number 7 Packers, led by Jordan Love with 3,381 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks, and a 73.1 QBR. Good for third. Jordan Love's having a quiet, solid season, with Josh Jacobs coming out the backfield with 929 yards, 13 touchdowns, 234 carries on 15 games. If he played 2 more, he definitely would have cracked the 1,000-yard mark. Then they got another committee-ish team in the receiving end since Tucker Kraft went down with that ACL injury, led by Romeo Doubs, 724 yards, 55 catches, 6 touchdowns. Christian Watson and Matthew Golden will be needed. They should be contributing. They have to. The Packers are going to be able to move the ball. Packers defense heading into the playoffs. They had Micah Parsons. You'd be saying this defense was elite, but since his injury, the pass rush has taken a toll. The pressure the Packers have been able to create earlier on the season with Parsons and now without is it's pretty significant. I believe they only had 3 sacks in the last 4 games without him. And if this game becomes a shootout, the Bears offense is probably going to light them up and go for the win. I know they've had some pretty close outings this year. We had one walk-off, another one where Caleb kind of choked. But I think this is going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be a battle of offenses, similar to the 49er game, not where it's 54 to 1,000 on a crazy score, but I like the Bears to get it done. I think the Packers come back healthy next year, and they probably show up in a higher seed, but give me the Bears here. So that will send us to our divisional rounds, and we'll start again with the AFC. And it would be the Broncos versus the Texans. I didn't give you the Broncos rundown earlier, so we'll do that real quick. Broncos led by Bo Nix, 3,931 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 58.5 QBR. J.K. Dobbins out the backfield, 772 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry. On 10 games played, that's pretty good too. He's having a I don't know why the Ravens ever let him go, but that's just the inner Raven in me. Cortland Sutton, he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer, 1,000 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns, 74 receptions. And the Broncos are known for what? One thing, their defense. First in sacks, second in rushing defense, 7th in passing, and 3rd in points per game allowed with 18.2. But that is just behind who they will be matching up with, the Texans, who they're 2nd in points per game allowed. These two did end up playing this year, actually, November 2nd, 2025. The Broncos ended up winning by 3. Half of the reason the Broncos were even in this game is because the Texans' offense only kicked field goals. They had no idea. This was when the Texans were going to red zone. I think they were 0 for 20, 0 for 14 on red zone trips to begin the year. But the Texans' offense has gotten it back together. I believe it will still be a low-scoring game. This is a hard one to call because this is 2 of the best defenses in the league literally going at it in a playoff matchup. I think it's going to be low-scoring. And I think I'm going to have to take the Broncos to score, and I'm win by 3 on a field goal again. I know. It's just this is what that team has been, winning ugly all year against good teams, against bad teams. They just know how to get it done down the stretch. And I think the Texans they're a scary team. This is going to be one that might fuck up my bracket, but I'm going to take the Broncos here. Let me get 5 on Bo Nix to get no Bo picks. And that would lead us to our other divisional matchup, and this would be a banger. I hope we get this. Bills versus Pats. It's a rematch of the December 14th where Drake May, the possible MVP of this season, blew a 21-0 lead to the Bills. I think this is going to be a banger. If the Pats learn from their mistakes, they split the season series on the year. I mean, the first game, I don't really like to call that. Teams are still trying to figure out who they are. But the Bills, I mean, out of all years, if this is the one they go to the Super Bowl, it'll be all on Josh Allen's shoulders because they truly have no help for him. But I can't see this Patriots run getting knocked off by an injured and weakened Josh Allen's Bills team. I think I like the Pats to win this by maybe a field goal or a touchdown. It's going to be a 1-score game throughout. And I think that defense is going to pay dividends for them. I'm going to take the Pats here. Let me get Drake May. And then heading over to the NFC, we will have the Seahawks taking on the Rams. This is another banger. Quick rundown on the Seahawks. Sam Darnold, 4,048 yards. 5th in the league for that. 25 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Kenneth Walker out the backfield with 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 220 carries. With his sidekick, the man that steals his touchdowns, Zach Charbonnet with 730 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 184 carries. And the receiving end, Jackson Smith and Jigba leading the league in yards with 1,793, 10 touchdowns and 119 receptions. And this defense is coming alive at the end of the season and is one of the best defenses in the league. They're first in points allowed above the Texans and the Broncos, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. They have the third best rushing defense, and the passing is where they might get burned, as they have the 10th best passing defense in the league. The Rams and Seahawks have had two of the most banger games of the regular season. Their first one, November 16th, where Jason. I think it's Jason Myers, right? It's not Jacoby. Yeah, it is Jason Myers. Jason Myers missed the 61-yard field goal that would have won the game for the Seahawks. And then we witnessed the banger of an OT Thursday night game on December 18th, where the Seahawks eventually got that win back. So they split the series. It's all been 1 point down to the last, whoever has the ball games. And I think this is going to be another banger. I'm telling you, the playoffs this year are setting up to be something just amazing. But I think I'm going to go with the Rams. I think they're going to go back to the divisional championship. I think it's just destiny. I think Stafford's running out of time. It's now or never. Seems like the cards are all in play. Everybody's getting healthy at the right time. It's going to be a banger of a game, but give me the Rams. And this was set up for a rematch of probably the most exciting game of the year. 49ers taking on the Bears. I don't think we're going to get a repeat of that instant classic we got on Sunday Night Football. This is another one that's hard to call. You have an amazing just the 49ers story this year is insane. If they were to come from the season they've had with all these injuries to go play in their home stadium in the Super Bowl, which I don't think is going to happen, but it would be crazy. For some reason, I do like the Bears to get their get back here. I don't think it's going to be as high of a scoring game as it should be, or as people think it will be, but I think the Bears are going to inch out the Niners in a rematch that should be highly coveted. And it's going to be a coaching oh my God, it's going to be all over the wall watching these coaches. And this would lead us to the championship weekend, the conference championships. And in the AFC, it would be the Broncos versus the Patriots in probably one of the most defensive slugfests we might ever see, maybe. I can see the Patriots scoring more points than Bo Nix's offense, but I can also see Drake May struggling to get through these playoffs. I mean, by now we'll see if he's got it or not. But I mean, if the Pats made it this far, he should be nice. This is so tough to call. But I think, it's been touted all year, even though they've kind of gone up and down. It was seen going in that the Broncos were Super Bowl favorites for the AFC. So I think I'm going to stick with that. And I'm going to go Broncos to beat the Patriots by a field goal, and they win off a Drake May interception, or a Stephon Diggs strip fumble, because he's done that before this year too. And then in the NFC, it would be the Rams taking on the Bears, and this is another one it's kind of hard to call. The Bears' comeback from last year this year is just, they deserve all the credit in the world. Ben Johnson, he's just, what a coach. Coaching really does make a difference. Shout out Aaron Glenn. Love you, buddy. Thank you for all you've done for us. But back to the topic. I feel like early on in the season, we all, or a majority of NFL fandom, saw that the Rams might be inevitable this year. Sean McVay is just a hell of a coach. But on top of that, I think things are clicking. This is the only thing I could see derailing the Rams playoffs this year is Matthew Stafford. The games they have lost, it's because Matthew Stafford has thrown picks early and gotten them into holes early. And that is what stopped them from winning games they should have. Literally, the Panthers shouldn't even been in the playoffs. But they lost that game because, again, Stafford threw 2 picks in the first quarter. I think this game stays close through 3. I think into the 4th, it's going to be a 1-possession game. And I think the Rams eke it out. I think the Ben Johnson heroic story of saving Chicago ends here. I think they make better moves in the offseason, actually get some receivers for Caleb to throw to, and maybe possibly add some more O-line help. That's what they did last season. It was great. I think the Bears had an amazing season, but I don't think they're playoff Super Bowl contenders yet. So I'm going to go with the Rams. And this would set up the Super Bowl, leaving us with the Rams taking on the Broncos. And I think that's a good Super Bowl matchup. I think that would be a close game, a competitive game, and a game that I believe the Rams would end up winning. I like the Rams this year. I don't know why I'm glazing the Rams. It seems like towards the later half of this video, I have hopped on the Rams train. But I guess I am. I could see Matthew Stafford winning one more ring and riding off into the sunset. And I think for a man who spent the better half of his career rotting in Detroit, I think he deserves that. just as much. And I also just see the Broncos defense keeping them in the game. But Bo Nix, it's come time and again. I know Broncos fans love Bo Nix, and he is a talent. He is good. But I just still think he needs time to develop. Overthrows, shout out Perna, has been one of the most iconic things you could see this year. He does have a tendency to overthrow, but he takes care of the ball. Even in spite of this, I still think the Broncos are a couple years away. I think they have the right pieces, but I still think it's just one of those feelings. You don't think it's ready for them yet. So I'm going to go with the Rams to win it all, take it home. Matthew Stafford, go to Disneyland, get it all done. And yeah, the Rams are your 2025-2026 NFL Super Bowl champions. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm crazy, that's fine. Let me know in the comments. Be political. Be respectful about it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Boy.